Hi there, Mark here from Cosmic Audio, and today we're looking at the LightMaxx Vector BSW 10R Intelligent Moving Head Fixture. The LightMaxx Vector BSW 10R is a professional, powerful moving head light fixture with many features found on lights costing many times more. When buying the Vector, you have three options. You can buy it in a standard cardboard box, you can buy a single unit in a single flight case, or you can buy a twin unit in a twin flight case. We opted for a pair in the twin flight case. The flight case is solidly built with good quality hardware, and the light units are well protected in the case and do not move around during transit. They can be a little bit tricky to lift out of the case due to where the handles end up being positioned, and you have to invert your hands on the inside to hold the handles and pull the light out. And each light does weigh 20 kilos, so it can be a bit of a struggle to get it out of the case, but the case is well made and it fits the lights well. There is both a pan and a tilt lock on the light, so make sure these are unlocked before you plan to use the light. Looking at the units themselves, on the front of each unit is a colour touchscreen and a data entry wheel with scroll and click functionality. This is ideal for picking DMX addresses and other sensitive data input that the touchscreen may be too small to accurately enter. Upon starting the unit, the screen lights up and the unit performs a self-test to ensure everything is running correctly, both in software and hardware. The light will move around for a minute or so, resetting itself and finding where it is on its stepper motors until it reaches its starting position, upon which it's ready for use. Also on the front of the unit are DMX and microphone indicator lights. The DMX indicator light shows when there's an active DMX signal, and the microphone light shows when the microphone is receiving sound for the sound to light functionality. Moving around to the back of the unit, there's a power con connector, a 3-pin DMX in, 3-pin DMX out, and a large power button. The light is powered by a PowerCon cable, which locks into position, but unfortunately for the UK market, comes with a European plug on it. For our lights, we simply removed this and replaced it with a male IEC connector, allowing us to run power as far as necessary. So let's fire them up, put them through their paces, see what they can do, but of course before we do that, it's going to look a lot better if we have a nice bit of haze in the room. Haze! So firstly, this light is immensely bright and offers three main modes of light output: beam, spot and wash, hence BSW. Beam is the thinnest and it's a solid light over a small area. The Vector can operate between 3.8 and 12 degrees in beam mode and outputs a huge 82,000 lux at 20 meters. Spot mode is a slightly wider beam of light but still offers powerful coverage on the target. This is ideal for lighting up a singer on stage or creating wider effects alongside gobos, which we'll mention in a moment. The power output for the spot setting is 25,000 lux at 10 meters, and the light outputs at an angle between 5 and 23 degrees. Finally, wash mode will give you the widest beam of light. This covers a large area and is ideal for lighting up a wall or a dance floor, but not practical for use with gobos, prisms or aerial effects. This spreads the light more widely using a frost filter and thus is not as bright on any one particular area, outputting 18,000 lux at 10 meters. However, its angle of usage is much wider, between 5 and 45 degrees. So all in, the motorised zoom can go from 3.8 to 45 degrees, which is an impressive range for any moving head. This Sirius light output is courtesy of an Osram Sirius HRI 280 watt bulb, which should provide all the light you could ever need. The colour wheel gives you 14 different colour options, including UV and warm white. You can also do split colours, which can look great when combined with some moving aerial gobo effects. However, you can't choose what colours are next to each other. This is preset and is simply half of one colour combined with the next colour on the wheel. For example, white and red and blue, so on. Moving on to gobos, the light features both static and rotating gobos. There are 13 static gobos and 9 rotating gobos, not including plane open. There are also prisms incorporated into the fixture, a 6-facet linear rotating prism, an 8-facet circular rotating prism. The Vector also features a linear motorised focus and zoom, creating real flexibility with light show design. One thing to mention about the gobos is that unfortunately they're not indexable, so this means that you can't preset which way a gobo goes up. This could be limiting if, for example, you were doing a wedding and you had a custom gobo made for the bride and groom's name and you wanted to project that on the floor. You'd have to manually set that at the beginning of the night. Combining both prism and gobo can create some really great lighting effects. At the top of the light there's a double blade shuttered strobe, which can vary from half a second up to 9 flashes per second, both in square wave form and slowly pulsing. So there we go. Let's have a quick roundup of the good points and the bad points. The bad points are few and far between, so let's cover the good first. The good points, the build quality is fantastic. It's a good, robust, well-made, sturdy light. There's no bits of bendy plastic or sharp edges to cut your fingers on. It stays, I mean, this has been on for an hour now and it's barely warm on the top. It stays very cool, so obviously the whole cooling system and everything is very well designed. It's a good, sturdy, robust thing and should give many years of active service, I'd imagine. Other good points are the sheer light output. Now this is a bright light. It's got a very powerful bulb in there. It does put out quite a bit of heat, so that's warm now. Now it's hot. Now it's uncomfortable. Now there, pain, we're in pain. So it puts out quite a lot of heat. The upside of that is if you've got half an hour free before a gig, you can probably fry an egg with it on the top of a flight case or something like that. So that's quite good. Other good points are the flexibility and the versatility. You can do pretty much anything you want to do with this light. If you want to shine it at something to shine at a mirror ball and get a great mirror ball effect, you can put it in beam mode and point it up at your mirror ball. If you want spots behind a band, you can do spots behind a band. If you want to fill a stage with wash, you can fill a stage with wash. Having all the static gobos and the rotating gobos is great, and the ability to not only have the linear prism but the circular prism and to rotate either of those in either direction as well as zooming in and out is great. And to rotate a gobo one way and then rotate a prism the other way, you can get some really creative effects going on with that, both aerial effects and projected effects as well. So this is also a great light to use if you're in a venue that won't allow you to use smoke or haze. So it's very versatile, very well built, value for money, excellent, 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 excellent. Bad points, few and far between. If you really scrutinize the light, so if you really focus in that open gobo on spot or beam mode, you can notice some slightly rough edges around the opening. Similarly with the things like the split colour wheel, some of them aren't quite split exactly in the middle and they're a bit fuzzy around the edges, and it's not a crystal clear, really sharp image that you're projecting. But really that's to be expected for the price. I mean, it does so much. This light is based on the Roby Pointy, which would cost 4 or 5 times the price of this to buy, and that will give you razor sharp edges and perfectly split colour wheels and things like that, so you kind of get what you pay for. But that's only when you really scrutinise the light. That doesn't detract from what it actually does out in the real world, in which case things like that you don't really notice anyway when it's moving around and doing various things. Not as easy to spot the little details like that. And that is great. So again, it can be a little bit juddery sometimes on sort of extremes of movement. Occasionally the prism doesn't rotate quite as smoothly as you might like on the very slow settings, but again, that's something that, you know, pay £5,000–6,000 for a light and you're going to have a perfectly smooth prism rotation at any kind of speed. So that's it really from as far as the bad points go, apart from my major gripe and my major bugbear, which is easily solvable, and we have solved it by putting a sticker on the back. but for goodness sake, lighting manufacturers, make the front of your light, when it's a moving headlight and it's got a certain, you know, a certain degree of turn, etc., etc., make the front of your light absolutely bleeding obvious. And the way to do that is by having what's on the front of the instruction book as the front of the light. And it's obvious when if you've got any person, even a complete total noob to any kind of lighting, was to walk in this room now and you were to show them this and say, where's the front of the light? They'd go, oh, it's that, isn't it? Because you've got the screen at the front and the controls at the front and all the cables come out the back. Anyone would say that. You look at the picture on the box and it shows the front of the light with the screen and the light pointing down. The book, front of the light, that's the front of the light. That is the front of the light. Where the screen is the front of the light. And where the cables come out is the back of the light. But it isn't, is it? The front of the light is where a bloody handle is. So not only does that make that ridiculous when you're getting it out the box or the flight case, because you want to pick it up like this and put it down like that. You don't want to pick it up like this and put it down like that, because that does your back in. Where the screen is needs to be the front of the light. So manufacturers, please take note. Can we please have the front of the light where the screen is and the back of the light where the cables come out? Hanging it upside down on a truss, was that the front of the light, or was it the other way around? Or was it this, or was it that? I can't remember. Oh, hang on a minute, there's a screen there and loads of cables coming out the back. That must be the front of the light. It isn't, is it? I'm going to go on and on about this because it drives me nuts. Right, the front of my TV isn't the side, is it? The front of my TV is the screen, the bit I look at. Similarly, is this the front of my iPhone? No, that is. So can we please do the same with this? What are you doing? Oh, I'm just writing on the 2mm section that I think is probably the front of the blackboard. Just make the front of the light what is obviously the front of the light. Front, back. That's what we want to see on the LightMaxx Vector BSW 10R Mark II. Front, back, sorted. Thank you very much. I'd like to point out that this is available from musicstore.de should you wish to buy one. We're not affiliated with them in any way at all. They haven't sent us these for review. We've bought one off their shelf. Great company to deal with if you're in London or Essex or that kind of area. You can pop into the shop in Romford and speak to the guys in there and try one of these out. Great company to deal with, so don't buy cheap rubbish from eBay. Go to a proper dealer, get a 3-year warranty, and go and see the guys there. They'll sort you out. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you all again soon on the next video. Bye bye. Where's the front of this? Sure, I'm pointing this the right way, but I'm only getting stuff over there. Is this the front? Sure, this was the front.